We've lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with a few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Yo, dudes.
Yo, dudes.
Yo, what's up? How's it hanging, broskies? Yeah.
Now we're talking
it's
Malengo,
Monday,
man.
Yeah. Yes. Did you grow up at the beach?
Oh, dude.
the surfer laugh. Yeah, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Drive-In Speakerbox. It's another week. It's Monday night. We are up here in the studio. We are going to be talking to you guys about movies for the next hour. Yeah, it's what we do. I'm your host, Bo, the boom operator.
I'm Jake the Grill.
And if you guys are listening to the podcast version of this, heads up, we stream this live with video on the internets, on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube each week at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Already got some people in the chat. Shout-outs to Johnny Dalton and Counterexample over on Twitch. Hey, guys, what's going on?
Johnny coming in with one of our favorite movie jams.
Clap your hands, everybody, and everybody clap your hands. Little Revenge of the Nerds action there. And speaking of nerds, what's going on with the shirt? Explain the shirt to us. You got a SpongeBob on.
Wow,
on
what
the
a
shirt.
way to attack your homie. Nothing nerdy about this, man. It was the Super Bowl yesterday.
Sports happened.
And y'all may know that we're not big fans of sports or anything, but Paramount Plus had a series of commercials for their Paramount Plus. And in one of those, they had SpongeBob doing Sweet Victory, which many people had petitioned to get put into the Super Bowl several years ago. And the NFL decided to troll everybody by having SpongeBob introduce the halftime show and then cut it off and not give us the one song that was the whole reason to push
Everybody
for
loves
it.
SpongeBob.
So Paramount Plus in one of their commercials finally gave us some semblance of Sweet Victory at the Super Bowl.
Did you watch the Super Bowl?
No.
Did you watch any things about the Super Bowl?
Yeah, today I caught up on the news about the commercials and the things that happened.
Yeah.
There were many commercials that I plan on talking about in the show because they pertain to movies, like the Paramount Plus commercials.
All the new teasers that dropped. M. Night Shyamalan's old trailer, which I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of that title. He's getting kind of old.
And there's a Wayne's World commercial that fits with us. Very much so. So yeah, all sorts of stuff happened. But no, I caught up on all of it today. Football's not really my jam. Couldn't tell you anything about it if I wanted to. So,
Did the Tom Brady win? Was he the winner of the Super Bowl?
the Buccaneers won.
Was that a Tom Brady? I think that's a Tom Brady.
Probably so. Yeah, sports.
Yeah, he did it. He won the points with the most ball.
I can tell you about wrestling. I know about wrestling. But
Is that a sport?
yes.
Johnny asked if we saw the streaker. Yes, I've seen the clips of the streaker. He wasn't wearing a mask, which was, and that's the thing about the Super Bowl. I watched some clips of the Super Bowl. I watched the first couple of minutes of it, and I'm pretty sure there was a group larger than 10 in that stadium. There were not a lot of socially distant folks. A lot of non-mask wearing folks I saw in the audience. A lot of
I got told there's a lot of cardboard people. Though,
I did see some cardboard people. Yeah, I think everybody was like, well, it was supposed to be all vaccinated nurses and doctors and health professionals. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. That's who they gave all these tickets to. But I have it on pretty good authority because I know some of these people that gave their tickets that they got for being healthcare workers to their friends that aren't healthcare workers, nor were they vaccinated. And I'm like, that's not how this works, you guys. That's not how. Can't we have nice things? Come on, super spreader events.
Yeah, even on that where there was a super limited audience and things like that, you still had some goober that hops out in like a pink unitard.
In a Borat like unitard.
Yep.
But Johnny says, don't worry, they shut it down after 11, so they're safe. Speaking of which, though, for those of you that follow local Arkansas news, is where we broadcast from, and have a bar here in town, we the 11 o'clock curfew was lifted, so we are able to be open till 2 a.m. now. And on that note, that means that we cannot dilly-dally on the Speakerbox any longer, because this guy got his job back at the local Smoke and Barrel Tavern where he works, and on Mondays and Tuesdays. So that means he's got to not get drunk tonight, unfortunately, and he's only having one Coors.
I've never been drunk on this show.
You gotten tipsy. You got... Pretty sure we've seen it. If Vince
we've seen you.
Oh yeah,
my guy.
Oh, I'm not denying that. I'm true to myself.
I'm true to myself. I'm true to my country. I'm a real American.
Well, speaking of real Americans, let's talk about some news, some movie news. I don't know why that had to do with real Americans, but there's some stuff. There's some new news. Before we get into sad news, actually, this is pretty sad news. One of the things that Peacock, I think it was Peacock, we producers and content creators right now cannot seem to come up with original new ideas. And I saw something the other day that I could not believe was real, and it is. And they're rebooting Punky Brewster, but
what with like. Wait,
with
what?
her, she's like
Soleil Moon Frye's gonna be in it?
And she's like in her 40s, and she's going through a divorce, and she's trying to like keep her family together.
Brewster, no.
And she still wears mismatched shoes, and I'm like, how sad is it that you're clinging on to some sort of fun gimmick that was cool when you were 8? And
wow, comes the boy that's like way into Cobra Kai. Come on, guy.
Yeah, but I'm not like still doing the Cobra Kai shoe thing. I'm not like
but I don't know. I like Soleil Moon Frye. I think maybe it'll be good.
I don't know. It looks. I just can't. What meeting was taking place?
What if they redid Doogie Howser and they just had? That would be cool, right?
Yeah, and that's the Doogie Howser theme. I'm pretty sure. And it's like, and he starts off with, he says, computer going, he's like, Dear Diary, I'm 12 and a doctor. Episode 6. Whatever. Cosmic Drew says, howdy from down below again. Remember this week's Keep It Down, LOL.
Hey, nice.
Well, what's up, Drew? Here, we'll stomp down and say hey to old Drew. John Dalton says we'll sign up for a Small Wonder reboot. Oh no, I don't want a Small Wonder. I don't want any of that stuff. But I want to be on the meeting where the guy was like, man, dude, I was just thinking the other day, like, well, it'd be really awesome if we just like what's Soleil Moon Frye doing these days? Like,
fair question.
Like, we could get Punky Brewster back. and then they're going to make a GameStop, Wall Street Bets, like, movie. They're going to be making, there's a documentary coming out about
the 4 seasons?
The 4 seasons.
Yes. Yeah, they're doing a documentary about it, and it's going to be apolitical, feel good.
Oh,
geez. It's supposed to be a first-hand account about them and then their merchandising opportunities that they created afterward, leading
which was pretty
all
amazing.
the way up to the fact
pretty
that
amazing.
They also featured in a commercial for the Super Bowl for a Fiverr commercial. So I don't know how that worked, but I guess they'll do something for $5 because that's what Fiverr is. But yeah, so the 4 seasons is still riding that botched Trump press conference thing.
And as they should.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Like, ride that thing into the sunset.
They're going to have a documentary, and if anything's taught us anything we learned from 2020, 2019, documentary will just soar you to the moon. Look at Tiger King stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can make your way off of a documentary now.
Because I mean, documentaries thanks to several different directors in the documentary film world, it's not about telling realistic stories. It's about guiding a narrative.
It's about being a more serious toned reality show.
Yes, exactly. And I'll watch it. It's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be an interesting thing to see. But anyway, I couldn't believe I saw that. I thought that looked pretty ridiculous. What else in the news I wanted to mention? Apparently Mattel, who's absolutely lost their damn minds, they are thinking, certainly people want to see movies off of Mattel projects. I mean, He-Man, Barbie, that makes sense. I get it.
Hot Wheels.
But now there's talks with Mattel reaching out to Lil Yachty and doing an Uno movie. And it's going to be a heist comedy with Lil Yachty about Uno. Battleship was a pretty big stretch there. How are they going to? And they were going to do a Monopoly movie, but that got canceled.
Maybe they'll roll the Monopoly movie in the GameStop AMC thing into one
film.
Yeah.
They've also got Magic 8 Ball and Viewmaster film project ideas.
Are those going to be like horror movies?
I don't know.
Or
yes.
Jumanji, Narnia style, transportation to a magical world?
VR goggles and go, and you're just taking in there.
Or
as Johnny said over on YouTube, Etch-a-Sketch Origins.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
what? Mattel's not alone in this. Hasbro is helping to bring a movie to the big screen here soon too.
Well, they had so much. Was Hasbro responsible for Transformer productions, or what was that? That was a big Hasbro. No, that was G.I. Joe.
I think
that was the G.I. Joe movie, wasn't it?
I think Hasbro is Transformers too, but they're bringing another attempt at Dungeons and Dragons to the screen.
Ooh,
this time
I did
with
read that.
Another big name cast, just like they tried back in the 90s where they had one of the Wayans brothers and a couple of people that were forgotten to time because they were in the D&D movie.
Mm-hmm.
But this time it has Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, and Justice Smith, which I don't understand why people keep putting Justice Smith in movies. Do people like him? Is that a thing?
Yes.
Who?
People.
Who's like, that guy that screamed in Jurassic World? I was really into that guy. Or they're like,
dude.
You remember Detective Pikachu, the dude that wasn't Ryan Reynolds, but instead the annoying kid?
Well,
that dude rules.
Well,
how does that work?
The hip hop series on Netflix was actually pretty good, and he was really good in that. So
what was it called? Was it called the hip hop series?
I can't remember. It's kind of like about the dawn of hip hop and scratching culture. It was pretty good. I watched it. It's just been a while, so I can't think of the name of it because I'm trying to think of the name of something else here on my machine here. I need to.
Well, Johnny said that Patton Oswalt has to be in the D&D movie. I'm sure that people like him and or Stephen Colbert or any of those other like famous dweeb nerd type characters will probably find their way into it, but D&D is something that just doesn't really work in movie form as like an overall deal. Swords and sorcery can work, but every attempt at Dungeons and Dragons has been not fantastic. So, like the one in the 90s where they turned a red dragon into a T-Rex for some reason, and then
the cartoon. Oh no, you're talking about the movie.
the live action,
yeah.
and then they had it fall like the friggin'
cartoon
Rancor.
was pretty cool.
They had it killed like the Rancor in Return of the Jedi because it was a T-Rex and it was dumb and awful.
Well,
so, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
One of the things in the comments there, counterexample, just threw out there that I'm glad that you said that because I do want to mention this. There's a new film from A24 that has been on the kind of back burner, of course, because movies are not getting released. But there is a new film coming from A24 that's going to be playing here thanks to the Arkansas Cinema Society. They're now got a Northwest Arkansas chapter out of Little Rock normally, but they are They've got partnering up with Bentonville Film Festival, Fayetteville Film Fest, and A24 Films, and they are going to be showing Mirani at the Drive-In this week, which on February 11th. And it's got Steve Ewan from Walking Dead is in it, and actually it takes place. It's set in the Ozarks, in kind of the Northwest Arkansas area. Yeah, so if you guys want to check that out, 112 Drive-In Theater, you can Google on it, you can find it on there, and you can check out some cool A24 always puts out really awesome films. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, it's going to be this weekend, even though I think the weather's going to be pretty butt garbage. But you could be inside your warm car and turn your heat on. And
it's also always fun to see how inaccurately depicted our Ozarks are.
Yep.
Wildly inaccurately.
Yep.
Always.
That seems to 100%.
I've never seen it one time be anything like.
It's like Winter's Bone and Ozark.
Is Winter's Bone supposed to take place in the Ozarks?
In the Ozarks. Yeah, because we're the meth capital of planet Earth, I guess. And,
Oklahoma. No, maybe Springfield, the queen of the Ozarks, but not here. Not the bulk of the Ozarks. Hey, you know what else? Talking about local films and cinema and things. Recently reported by our local Fayetteville Flyer last Tuesday, just a day after we were done broadcasting. There is a new movie produced out of Fayetteville that's supposed to be hitting all of the film circuit soon, called Blood on the Risers. And it's a movie that's supposed to take place here in the Ozarks and things like that, but produced from here, so maybe it might be okay. But it is supposed to take place in like the late 40s, things like that. Men returning home men returning home from war and dealing with PTSD and things like that.
Period pieces are hard without humongous budgets. That is something that
the screenshots that it shows are all like people in war or people like inside of a house or something. So if they keep like a small setting or like an open setting like that where they can, Europe at war, but then when they bring it here, keep it inside, it might work. But it's a local film. It's supposed to be hitting film circuit soon, so we'll see how it does and if it ever is available.
Speaking of films, later in the show, I did see a new film in a theater for once. It seems like I can count on one hand how many times I've been able to do that in the past year.
Seeing a new film's hard. I saw a old movie, but
was it Groundhog Day?
No. Oh, but I really wanted to.
Yeah, that was in theaters.
I watched Fellowship of the Ring, but it was the first time that Lord of the Rings was put into IMAX.
Oh. That's right. I wanted to go see that, but I just don't.
They're
have
showing
7
it throughout
hours.
the week.
Yeah, I need to go check
it's
it out.
It's only the 3-hour version. Actually, I'll talk about it here in a minute.
Well, in our end segment where we review the films, I'm going to be talking about The Little Things, and then you'll be talking about Lord of the Rings and IMAX re-released. Yeah. Let's see what else. Oh, well, I mean, we gotta touch on this news. We lost another famous thespian this past week on February 5th. Christopher Plummer at age 91. This dude was acting all the way up until, pretty much his deathbed.
Yeah, from 53 to present.
This guy never quit working. I mean, he was in 3 different things, just in the 2019, or 3 or 4 different movies.
He was in 3 different things.
No, I'm just in 2019. He would have been 90, still acting. And this guy, he just
took over for Spacey, made a
movie
that worked.
That was so weird.
Notice.
When they completely removed Kevin Spacey from that film and put Christopher Plummer in his place. That was and he did a pretty good job for that. But he of course, probably one of Canada's greatest exports, has been, he was Sherlock Holmes back in the 70s.
He was Von Trapp in Sound of Music.
He was in Beautiful Mind was a huge role for him. Everybody loved.
He was General Chang in Star Trek 6.
He was in Star Trek 6.
You don't understand Shakespeare until you read it in the original Klingon. Yeah, he was Chang in the best Star Trek movie. That rules.
Yeah, and his voice, he was a really good voice actor as well. He was in, one of my favorites that I'm pretty sure is Christopher Plummer, but it was then the movie 9. Did you ever see that? It's a weird movie.
Like about the little weird puppets.
And they all had like numbers on their bodies and stuff. I really liked that movie. And yeah, Christopher Plummer, he was
a voice in Rockadoodle, which is a movie that I've watched way too many times when I was growing up. He was the voice of the Greybeards in Skyrim.
I did not know that.
How about that? He also voiced General Chang in 2 different Star Trek games.
Oh, once General Chang, always General Chang, right?
He was in National Treasure.
12 Monkeys.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, 12 Monkeys. He
was in Dragnet.
He's just a cool dude. He was in so many movies. I mean, you can't easily capture his entire career quickly. I mean, it's just Christopher Plummer is one of those dudes that may not have always been the leading role, but was always a huge part of a lot of different movies. And a pretty good run. Age 91. Pouring one out for Christopher Plummer. We lost another one, but he at least got to live it out and make a hell of a run for it. So, Christopher Plummer, there you go, man. You will be missed. Go.
Wow. Johnny coming in says, "Why does God need a spaceship?" Wrong Star Trek movie. That is from the second worst Trek movie ever made.
Is that the one with the whales?
No, that was 4. Oh, 4 rules. What are you talking about? Double dumbass on you, man. What's wrong with you? 4's the best. No, Star Trek 6 is the absolute best Star Trek movie, and Star Trek 5 is the one that he's quoting there, which is like the second worst one after Star Trek the Motion Picture, because the motion picture is boring.
Yeah, that one's not good.
No, V'ger's dumb.
The motion picture. Remember when
yeah, the even movies are the good ones.
Remember when movies used to say that? It was like so-and-so the movie or so-and-so the motion picture. And it was like such a big deal when something became a movie, like South Park, the movie. And now everything is the movie. They're like, this bottle opener, the movie. And, Punky Brewster, 40 years old, the movie. This bag of goo slime from the Gremlins box that we opened last month, the movie. It's just ridiculous how many things they're willing to turn into movies now because everything.
Speakerbox.
The movie.
Hey, that would be sweet, though. It'd be like a cross between like Jay and Silent Bob and Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things that was always cool about animated like cartoon TV shows that became the movie, like Transformers the movie, what made it really, really cool is the animation for the weekly episodes generally was a lower frame rate, was a little cheaper and a little quickly quickly produced. And the movie was like, oh, okay, well, we get a budget. We can have higher frame rates, more animation, more detailed animation. We can, it wasn't just like an hour and a half long episode because we get that all the time. But it was just like the production value was even better. And that doesn't happen anymore. It's just like, okay, here's...
Well, it kind of does. Logan just...
movie.
LOJ Webb just pointed out here that SpongeBob the movie, yeah, which I think they've done 3 times.
Well, and I think that's why they call it the movie, because they're acknowledging what they're doing. Because they did the CG scenes of CG, didn't they?
Yeah, and they had David Hasselhoff acting like Powdered Toast Man, basically. Powdered Toast Man. Because don't like SpongeBob and Patrick like ride on
his butt.
Hasselhoff's butt. Yeah, like Powdered Toast Man would do. He would always nestle them on his bee cheeks and fly backwards. Yeah.
God, Powdered Toast Man. John Kay. I know say what you will about John Kay, but that dude shaped a lot of young lives.
Yeah, you too could end up as messed up as us if you watch Ren and Stimpy as a child.
Space madness. And then what was it? Magic. God, they were the magic desk gremlins or whatever, and they were just boogers.
You talking about the nose goblins?
The magic nose goblins.
Yeah, you want to see my collection of nose goblins?
Magic nose goblins. This guy talks to boogers, man. The stuff is so good. I haven't seen an episode of Ren and Stimpy in years. Johnny Dalton says Batman the movie is still the best one.
Yeah, Batman the
66.
movie rules. And that's a movie that you could watch today and still learn a lot of lessons from. Because, spoiler, all of the world's UN meeting or whatever gets turned into powder. They get turned into friggin' pixie sticks. And then when they get de-scrambled and turned back into people, it's like the Tower of Babel. And they all speak other person's languages, so their languages don't come back right. And they're all mixed up, but they have to learn to come together and overcome. And that's a lesson you can really take to heart
You
today.
could take home. You could take it to
Yeah.
the bank.
Also, dolphins, such brave creatures, jumping in front of missiles destined for Batman.
I thought that only happened on Sequest DSV.
No.
Do you remember Sequest?
Yeah.
Didn't that kid kill himself? The one that was in like Sidekicks? That was like a tragic
the
child.
kid, wasn't he the same kid from Neverending Story 2?
Yeah. I think it was like a tragic Hollywood
like
child
that.
actor suicide.
That's what I
And-
always heard, but I don't think it was true. But that's what I always heard. But I like that Sidekicks is where you went with that, because Sidekicks is a sick movie that is
Well, just the scene
not
that's-
remembered as often as it should be.
The scene
because
where him and Chuck Norris
rule,
were like
just kicking
standing
the hell out of
back
everything.
to back, just like hiya 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 in
Yeah,
a circle.
basically Batman and
Yeah.
Robin of Taekwondo.
Dude.
Or what's the thing that Chuck Norris does? He has his own martial art. You don't know that, but Chuck Norris has his own martial art. But the martial art that he learned and based his off of is the same one that Cobra Kai is in the series Cobra Kai.
Damn, I wish they all wear cowboy boots too.
Something pseudo.
Johnny Dalton says he was also in Ladybugs. This is correct. He was in Ladybugs.
Ladybugs is a hell of a movie too.
And it's one of those movies that I don't think could get made again, where it's just
You
like
can't remake anything with Rodney Dangerfield in it.
we can't. Yeah, I mean that's a valid point.
Because speaking of like Rockadoodle, you know what other anime
Hey, you're
movie?
getting no me dude over here.
Yeah.
Ah.
You know what other movie I watched constantly growing up?
Mm.
Rover Dangerfield.
Rover Dangerfield. I need to revisit that.
That's a good
I
movie.
haven't thought about that movie in a long
That's a
time.
good-ass
It was like
movie.
back to back Rockadoodle and Rover Dangerfield over at your house as young Jake. Just
Yeah,
heck yeah,
all the time.
Word. What else? Did you have anything in your news sheet before we started talking about movies?
Oh man, well,
A lot of stuff, like that trailer with Cosmic Sin with Bruce Willis that looks absolutely ridiculous.
I didn't see that, but the Paramount Plus stuff, they showed Beavis and Butthead, Reno 911, SpongeBob. You're gonna get all your stuff. The Wayne's World with the Uber Eats, that was a thing that was out there. It was nice to see those characters back, even though they teamed up with Cardi B. That goes against everything they set up in the movies, because that's not the kind of music they would be willing to promote.
Nope.
The CW and TBS TNT announced, I think today, that they will be showing one-time encore episode airings cross-network. So while CW, Warner Media, and Viacom CBS, none have anything to do with the other, they do have an agreement to spread those the partnerships across the networks. So shows like Superman and Lois will have an encore showing on TBS or TNT, and shows like what's it called, the Go Big show from TNT with Cody Rhodes and Burt Kreischer and whoever else is on that will show on the CW. So they have a cross-network airing platform to try and combat maybe some of the streaming services to make it a little more accessible to people that have a network preference, but at the same time it's the same people that are offering you the streaming services. So what are you gonna do?
That's right. They're gonna get you money one way or the other.
Fast and Furious 9 had a new trailer. Got to talk about it. But in addition to the trailer, they showed a stunt in that trailer, and Justin Lin put out a video today that showed that it took 8 months of preparation, 4 days of production to create a 4-second stunt for the movie that made its way into the trailer. It looks sick. The only thing is, Mia is in it with no Brian, though in the trailer they did have an R34 GTR. Pulling into the driveway of the rebuilding of the house in LA. So that's kind of cool to see the R34 GTR. Will Paul be there? Who knows?
Gosh.
Is Brian
Stay
gonna be
tuned
back?
for more.
Or is Mia only back because John Cena's there playing their brother Jacob? And it's the
Can't see
three
him?
siblings. Yeah, you haven't seen him for the last 8 movies, but he just shows up out of nowhere because plot.
Was he in any of the movies?
No, dude, he's new to
He's
this
just
one.
new to this
They've
one?
never talked about this one because just like...
But I thought they were all about family.
Yeah, but not him because they don't want to see him.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so how about that? else do we have here?
Please, more
Army
Fast and the
Hammer
Furious news.
has been
has he eaten someone new?
dropped. No, his
Been dropped. Beastie Boys.
yeah, kind of like that. So no one is
Eat your girls, and then the studio's gonna drop ya.
Speaking of eating people, though, hey, great transition. Did you see that CBS this week is premiering their new sequel to Silence of the Lambs, Clarice? So there's a new show so far.
Give me season 4 of Hannibal.
Early reviews say that you will hate it. No one likes it yet, and it says that all it will do is make you really want the Hannibal
season
TV
4 of
show
Hannibal.
back. Yeah.
That's all that we need.
It is supposed to be a direct sequel to the original Silence of the Lambs movie, so we'll see how that goes. That debuts on the 11th, I think. So coming up this week, you have that showing up on CBS All Access, and soon Paramount Plus. And then also talking about streaming services, Netflix is raising their price at the end of the month.
Again.
So
Buy at the dip.
Yep. So their prices go up if you want 4 screens being able to show at one time. It is $18 at the end of the month. And then DC Universe will be killed by the end of this month as well. Everything will be
Is that the streaming service?
Their streaming service. So
And
everything.
are they rolling that into something else?
HBO Max. It's already been mostly integrated. So it's all Viacom CBS. Why would they continue to have a DC? DC as its separate thing when you have DC on HBO? Because who wants DC only when they can have all the other stuff for a cheaper price? There you go. Hey, also Michael B. Jordan, new movie, Without Remorse, part of the Jack Ryan universe.
Yep.
But there's some twists and turns here that makes it worthy of news.
Is M. Night Shyamalan directing?
No, but it was
You
originally
said twists and turns.
It was originally supposed to be released in the theaters via Paramount. Did not work with COVID. Doesn't really fit in their streaming plan. So they sold it to Amazon, which works out because Amazon already has the rights to the Jack Ryan shows.
So you can get
John
all
Krasinski.
your Jack Ryan in one place.
Yeah, and is there going to be crossovers? Who knows? But Michael B. Jordan, much like Kevin Hart signed with Netflix, signed a deal with Amazon for his production company, which is running the movie, which gives them first viewing deals, rights to other TV production, and he'll also be joining them for Audible, music, and several other collaborations, which is why he's part of their new commercial scheme, all this stuff. So you're going to see a lot more Michael B. Jordan. Oh, fashion and music are 2 of the other things he's teaming up with them on. Don't know what that's going to be. I guess he's going to have a clothing line.
Diversify your
jewelry
portfolio,
line,
my dude.
Something. Yeah.
Let's get it.
Yeah, he's straight up. What's that? Wu-Tang Bank. Yeah. Like, and then, how about that? There you go.
Boom, bam, boom, bip, 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 bip.
There's your news, all of the news.
So the Golden Globe nominations got released this week. Of course, they're all pretty lackluster because, not a lot of stuff has come out. So, and plus, my thoughts. If you've been listening to the show at all over the past 15 or so years, you'll know my thoughts on award shows. But it does transition me into the movie I'm going to talk about tonight. The movie I went and saw in theaters, which I think is also on HBO Max or some other streaming platform.
It was the second in their yearly scheme here to release same
time.
But it's only streaming throughout the month. So at the end of the month, it no longer streams just the same way that Wonder Woman did.
Can't see it in the theater either after a month, which is stupid. Yeah. But I went and saw the Little Things, and the Little Things got a Golden Globe nomination for its performance from Jared Leto.
Which is wild. Out of the 3, that he would be the one.
Yeah, this movie, I will say this about this movie. This movie had 3 powerhouse actors in Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto. All 3 of these guys Oscar winners, for whatever that means to you. Without them, I think my 1-sentence review of this, without them, this movie wouldn't have been that great. But with them, I really enjoyed this movie. And, I think that this movie is kind of I've talked to a lot of people that have also watched it on HBO Max, and they're like, it seems like I've seen the movie before. I didn't kind of left me hanging. I didn't really know what blah blah blah. At the end of it, I didn't think I liked it very much. And some of the people I talked to were disappointed that this is it's a whodunit style kind of detective noir mystery sort of deal, but it's not about whodunit. It's about who finding out about it. And this movie, instead of being more about catching the bad guy, it's about a kind of a psychological character study in how people that are, police detectives, homicide detectives, how it affects them and their family life, and how the torch can get passed. And it was pretty interesting to see this relationship build between Denzel and Rami, their two characters at the very beginning being very much polar opposites, but at the end kind of coming together and almost becoming one. And it's a buddy cop movie, and that's not fun. It's dark, it's depressing. It kind of takes a turn on borrowing out of the playbook of Seven. And then you have Jared Leto, who plays the suspect, and he's just it's Jared Leto. He's kind of a weird, crazy guy anyway.
Kinda.
And it's he delivers a great performance, and you never quite, spoiler alert, you never really figure out the solution to this murder. And I think for a lot of people, they're going to get disappointed by that. It doesn't have this sort of payoff at the end where like got the bad guy and the good guy gets the girl, and all else well ends well. It's just kind of like life sucks, and working in this also sucks, and humans are awful, and you do what you can do to survive and keep trying to stop bad guys, and I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was real. It reminded me a lot of season 1 of True Detective, when it was good, and just these two cops kind of, going through the shit, you know what I'm saying? And
now I know someone else that watched this movie, and he said that he was very excited to see it. Watched it at the movie theater with his girlfriend, and the two of them both absolutely hated it. And they said that was the case because it felt very tone deaf to the times, and it kind of made like a whole
tone deaf to the times. It was a period piece that took place in the 90s.
Yeah, but for now, like the way that they did it, it seemed like it was like trying to sympathize with cops trying to justify things that now is can you see it as that? Maybe is that plausible? Is that like a fair
this is something
takeaway?
I think that's something that I've talked about on the show before, of when you're taking your own whatever colored lenses, we'll use rose or blue. We'll use blue colored lenses in this case, and you're taking outside narrative in your life, and you're putting and injecting a sort of tone or thematic element in a story that may or may not actually be there, but you want it to be there because of the experiences in your life. And art and any sort of storytelling medium is really interesting in this way, because most of this stuff is in the eye of the beholder. You can look at a painting and go, what does it mean to you? You can watch a film and say, well, what does it mean to you? Say Mrs. Doubtfire could be a traumatic film for somebody that has, an abusive parent that has infiltrated their lives in the past. And you're like, I can't believe they're celebrating the fact that this deadbeat husband is coming in and basically sneaking in and terrorizing this family with a costume on. It's like, wait, that's not what Mrs. Doubtfire was at all. Well, you saw it. They broke up. She told him to stay away, but instead he disobeyed the restraining order. He put on a freaking costume and impersonated someone else, and then went in their personal lives. That is an invasion of privacy. And it's like, really, it's all on the perspective of this. And I think that this movie, taking place in the 90s, spoiler alert, it's about a couple of cops that, end up trying to cover something up. And, I don't think it celebrates it at all. I think whoever your friends are missed the mark on what this movie was trying to say, because I do feel that some people get so worked up on being on a bandwagon that they can't look at something objectively and go,
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, I think you will have to watch it because, sometimes it's hard to look at things objectively and separate like a global narrative that's going on, because it's not about cops killing people. It's about the pressure of wanting to catch somebody that's affected you for years, and you're watching all these murders and it's all on you. It's like, how does that affect your psyche? And one of the cops was an accidental. He killed this person, and it ruined his life.
Just like Al in Die Hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the other one was, I can't talk about it without giving it up, because there is a payoff in this movie, and it's not what you think. But yeah, I don't think it does not celebrate or grandiose like the idea of cops covering up shit. It's telling a story of it's a character study, and if you've ever watched character studies, they're not always fun. They're not everything can be fun, and that's, I think, again, another long sort of philosophical art conversation that I would have about this topic is that, when you're doing things in the world of art and storytelling, it's not always about getting the prize, defeating the enemy, getting the girl, having superpowers, and everybody's diverse, and everybody's happy, and everyone hugs everybody, and everyone identifies as their appropriate gender, and it gets accepted. Like, that's not how the world is all the time, and the most engaging stories are the ones that kind of ruffle our feathers and show us something that makes us uncomfortable so that we can see into a perspective that is not our own. And that, that is the journey of what cinema can do as an art form, is it can help you experience ideas that are different from yours. It doesn't necessarily mean these ideas are good. It doesn't mean that these are ideas that they want you to conform to, but it's letting you escape your own reality and take on the reality of something else. And that's a whole nother rabbit hole of cancel culture and a whole nother thing about art. And I almost got an art degree once upon a time, and I don't want to pretend like I got one now, but I've been studying the shit a long time. And if you wanna at me, we can have this conversation later, but we got 15 more minutes of the show, and you got to talk about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, bro, let's do it. Talking about eyes of the beholder and seeing things and whatnot. Look at this eyeball. Look at this Palantir back here. Dangerous items. Don't mess with them. For the first time, Lord of the Rings was brought to IMAX, and we're fortunate enough to have a semblance of IMAX here. Not too far away.
It's a Limax, but it's still big and it's still there.
And I don't have to travel to go use it. So it was there, and they did a remastered version specifically for display in IMAX. And they came out with the 4K version that you can own at home. But it was the 3-hour version. This week is Fellowship of the Rings. They're still showing it, so if you want to watch it, they are showing it up to
I wish you guys could see the Lord of the Rings pinball machine that's over in the corner of the room.
It's pretty rad.
It's pretty rad.
But they're showing it till at least Thursday, so you still have a chance to go watch it. The remastered looks good, man. It sounds good. I watched these movies in the theater when they first came out.
Right? Same, as did I.
But having it in IMAX with the sound that comes with IMAX too, and seeing it in the big theater and all that, when Gandalf has like his big booming voice and he tells Bilbo that he's not a conjurer of tricks and all of these things.
Conjurer of tricks.
Yeah, cheap tricks and all that. It sounds awesome. And the rotoscoping, they smoothed it out. They made it. They touched it up to where everything moves together and you can't tell that it's a rotoscope, which it was great before. It still looks good when you go back and watch it on like the Blu-rays and things. It looks great, but it looked better. It was like when we saw T2 in 3D.
Oh, T2 in 3D was so good.
And they didn't change anything. Like, and there's no enhancements in the CGI of this movie. Like, they didn't like
just stop. Don't fuck with it.
Yeah, they didn't change Gollum when you see him for the little bits in this movie. All they did was they made the movie more smooth. They didn't change the tentacle monster that attacks them outside of Khazad-dûm.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
the like
God, it's been
squid
so long.
deal.
Yeah.
So they don't change anything. They just smoothed and enhanced it and made it like when you see Rivendell,
Smooth tentacles.
it's harder to tell that the backgrounds are paintings and things like that. So it was a good movie to see in IMAX. I really enjoyed it. I look forward to Two Towers this next week.
Speaking of Two Towers, Johnny asked over on YouTube, he said, did we play Two Towers on GameCube?
Yes.
I did not. I can't remember that game.
But this is only it's the 3-hour version of the movie. It's not the full extended. I watched it with my brother. He and I are both big fans of the movies, and we noticed that there were certain things that were missing. Like the only person that you get to see the gift that Galadriel gave them is Frodo. You don't get to see any of the others being awarded their gifts.
Oh, they're cool trinket things.
You don't get to hear about Gimli getting the 3 hairs, or anything that would be further lore or things like that. So while it was more than what the original theatrical version was, because you did have things. Oh, nice.
I didn't play it on GameCube, but I have the Super Nintendo.
You didn't have
Mountain Box.
You did have things like the monster outside of the door of Durin's Hall, but you didn't quite have every bit of the extended portion of the movie. So.
Sorry, I'm just doing some unboxing porn while you were talking.
Wow.
Dude, look at this instruction book.
No, yeah, when games used to come with instruction books.
Yeah, dude.
That would tell you stories and moves and about the characters, and they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, this is the first action-adventure RPG with multiplayer real-time combat. Look at this, Lord of the Rings. This game's actually not fun at all. Adventure comes alive in a 16-bit fantasy with the swords and sorcery of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. Prepare yourself as this treasured Tolkien tale takes you on an epic quest to destroy the one ring that has the power to enslave Middle-earth. But beware,
Yes.
the evil Lord Sauron and his mighty forces will fight at you at every turn in your quest to conquer the Balrog and destroy the one ring of power.
Yeah, see, so the Balrog and things like that, they did not enhance, or they may have enhanced it, but they didn't change anything about Durin's Bane,
Dude, you could use
or anything like that.
exciting play using the optional SNES mouse.
Yeah,
What
the little gray mouse with a purple button. Yep. So highly recommend if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, or if you've never seen it before, it would be a great time. And 3 hours sounds daunting. You're used to long movies now. If you've watched any of these dumbass Marvel movies,
You could use the multi-tap adapter on this and have up to 5 players playing simultaneously. I never understood how powerful this game really was. I only played it by myself and it wasn't fun. It's because I didn't have enough friends. Now I could play up to 3.
What 5 characters do you play as? Gandalf, Legolas, Gimli?
I don't know, but that's dope.
Strider?
Allows up to 5 players simultaneously on this SNES. They can't even do that on Xbox. Yeah, dude. We can't even. We're trying to play Sea of Thieves, and max it lets me have is 4.
Well, yeah, that's how the game's designed.
They can't do it.
Anyhow, Lord of the Rings in the theater. It's a lot of fun. I will be going again here this next week to watch Two Towers, which is where stuff gets exciting. So, yeah.
Yes, it does.
Make a trip out to the theater if you have an IMAX near you to watch it. It is worth it.
Did you address the Boromir shooting first?
I had not, no.
Did he?
What does Boromir shoot first? He doesn't.
It's like
shoot.
Greedo.
Yeah, but in the big fight scene with Boromir, he doesn't use a bow. He doesn't use a bow.
But he gets bowed, right?
Yeah.
Like, and he gets the big honking, like, arrows, and he takes these, like, the horn of Gondor, or whatever he says.
Yeah, the horn of Gondor.
Yeah, I remember. And then he got, like, arrowed, and he stood there tall and powerful and got arrowed again, and then, like, again.
Yep.
And he's just like, but I'm Boromir.
Yep.
Hold the line, and then shunk one more, and he's like, I'm done. And he swung a sword at a bad guy.
Yeah.
Is that how it went?
Yeah, because Boromir could not fight the urge to take the ring because his father pressed it upon him, and he was trying to do it for the good of the people and what he thought was right. But then he did turn, and he fought against the tempting of the ring, and he decided that he would protect.
One does not simply.
Pippin and Merry, and to the end, and he fought gallantly, and he ended up being a true hero in the end, and he was a true son of Gondor, and
he's a true son of a Gondor.
He pledged his allegiance to Aragorn and made up for being a booty hole man the whole time up to that point. And Boromir's a real badass because Sean Bean is the coolest.
And gets killed a lot.
He does.
He does. Yeah, it's cool they had House Stark on their side, those little hobbits, you know. But Lord of the Rings. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess... There was a bit of a box office that happened. It's weird being able to talk about the box office, but The Croods, the New Age, still holding strong in the theaters. Number two movie in America for the 11th week in a row. $1.6 million it brought in, bringing up so far $45.9 million in this pandemic craziness. But the number one movie in America this week, The Little Things, brought in $2.1 million in the second week in release, bringing up to $7.8 million domestic gross from Warner Brothers. Everything else, The Marksman, out there for 4 weeks, almost brought in another million, so far up to $9 million. Oh man, so weird. And Wonder Woman 1984 brought in almost a million. About 900,000, bringing its total domestic run in 7 weeks to $40 million. Oof. But then The Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, the re-release, brought in $166,000.
Now, so one thing on that, when I checked on Friday dates, Saturday dates, and I didn't get into the Sunday, but I got the very last open seats on the Saturday showing. It was a packed theater. Friday's showings were completely full. The early showing for Saturday was full, and the evening show for Saturday that I went to was also full as well. But in the IMAX theaters, since they have the seats so close, they blocked off every other row, and they block off at least 2 seats on
How much
either
was
side
your
of you.
ticket?
It was like $11.
So yeah, okay, well, divided by 11, that's easy math. So about 15,000 people went and saw it this weekend.
Yeah,
and you
so
were one of them?
I think there was actually less seating available in the IMAX theater than there was in some of the regular theatrical screens, because in our local theater, because our local one has the reclining seats and things like that, they don't have to block off any rows in front because there's a substantial distance.
It was only in 150 theaters, though. That might be something that I needed to say.
Okay. Yeah.
So 150 theaters bringing in $166,000. That means almost every theater that showed it was fairly.
And how many IMAX theaters on there? Because this is something exclusive to IMAX release right now.
Yeah, that means about 100 people per theater saw it this weekend.
That's not bad considering right now and being blocked off in a theater that can normally sit over 200 people by itself.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. Numbers are weird, man. Johnny asks, are people still dicks at the theater? I haven't seen people at the theater. You know,
well,
I mean,
one of our other top 10 movies, News of the World, which is making big name for itself in all these award show talks.
It was number 6.
I did have somebody act up in that movie.
Oh,
we
you
talked
told
about it on the show.
Yeah, a couple episodes back.
Everyone at Lord of the Rings was really respectful, but I think everyone there was also a fan going in. There was a guy in like an elven cloak as Galadriel had gifted the Fellowship that was there.
And it was you.
No.
There was
way.
this other guy that had Sting on his on his waist, and he had like the ring around his neck, and he had like his cloak on, and I don't know who that guy was, but he was there.
No, dude, if I was going to dress up as like a Lord of the Rings character from Lord of the Rings from the Third Age, I mean, I would have to be like Aragorn, right? Or Gandalf.
Nah, you'd be like, what's his name? Radagast.
That's you, bro.
What? No!
You're the brown wizard.
You're
Yeah.
the brown
You're
wizard.
the doo-doo colored wizard, bro. Chacho that they covered in the Bird Dookie and the Hobbit movies. Nah, man. If I was gonna be anyone from Lord of the Rings, I would have to be. Oh, I could be one of the Rohirrim. I'd be like Carl Urban or something.
Okay, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a ring wraith. Just be like,
Yeah, yeah. And then if there was some dweeb dressed like the ring bearer, just like,
chase him around all the time.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Do the screams at people. Yeah.
Well, all right, guys. Well, we're almost out of time. This guy's got to get to work. I got to go get some dinner somewhere before everything starts to close. But special thanks to, we didn't have the producer in the studio this week. He is going to be probably on a pretty long hiatus while he works on the Ricky Harrington campaign for Arkansas governor seat, trying to overthrow Sarah Huckabee. Please, dear God, don't let her be our leadership. Remember when she was at Maxine's like about 2 years ago?
No.
Oh, it was a weird time. But yeah, Carl over there in the driver's seat. Shout outs to Carl. Kind of learning how the buttons work over there today. So yeah, we've got a different. Maybe he'll come back and help us out next week. Who knows? And I'll set the camera up, and maybe he can chime in, and I'll teach him how those buttons work. But anyway, if you want to check us out on our social medias, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, you can subscribe. We do this thing every week at 8:00 Central Standard Time. Johnny says he's got your vote, or his vote, your vote, yes vote. There's a vote. Somebody's voting. As long as it's not for Sarah Huckabee Sanders, then that vote counts. Fake news. Anyway. Thanks for tuning in. We will be back next week. Find these wherever you get your podcasts. Ask your smart speaker to play the drive-in speaker box. I don't know if that works. Does it? Has anyone tested that?
I don't know. That'd be great. Hey, didn't we have a fan send
McLean.
us a super rad video?
What?
The little video that we got with the spin around cam and everything.
What are you talking about?
Sam.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sam. Oh, yeah. Johnny Dalton over there. He's always tagging us in cool 360-degree videos. These cool boys in foreign films.
Yeah, cool boys in foreign films. So
very,
shout out
very
to that
cool
one.
stuff.
Yeah.
But
Smokey
anyway,
and the Bandit and stuff was there. Yeah, I really liked that.
All the appropriate targeted content. But shout outs to Drew, our neighbor. Hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody. McLean, silent there, silently lurking in the comments. Everybody having a good time. But we are going to get out of here. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next time. Bye.